Victor bellows the truth about Ashland's death to Nick, as Kevin brings Chance a new tip: the young and the restless. Today on The Young and the Restless, Sally runs into Adam. Nick demands answers, and Ashley shoots down Philly's and Nikki's scheme. At Newman Enterprises, Victor tells Nikki he's not upset that Ashland is dead, but he's concerned about Victoria's reaction to it. Nikki just spoke to her. She's told Johnny and Katie the news. She broaches that Nick is upset and confused as well. He doesn't know what to make of the car crash. Victor's sure he will be all right. At Newman Media, Nick assures Sally the decision to publish a story on Ashland's death is hers. He'd just like a heads up so he and Victoria can prepare for what's coming. He's very concerned for his sister. Sally recaps that as far as she knows, no other outlet knows that Ashland was at Victoria's house before his death. Part of her wants to break the story and outscoop the competition, but it might be a little premature at this point. Sally points out she doesn't have the whole story yet. Once she has the relevant information, she'll do what she has to do. Nick thinks this is smart and appreciates her holding off. He won't forget it. At Crimson Lights, Chance asks Sharon how she's doing with the news about Ashland's car crash. Sharon admits it brought up memories about Ray's death. She spoke to Nick about it, and he was a great comfort, though he's still trying to wrap his head around it. Chance assumes Nick told her everything that happened with Ashland that night. Sharon alludes to being there for her ex, to which Chance replies, "So you think Nick needs support?" Sharon suddenly remembers she put something on in the kitchen and has to get back to it. She makes a quick escape and Chance looks thoughtful. At Society, Adam asks Kevin why he's rushing off. Does he have some hardcore hacking to do? Kevin reminds him he works for the GCPD and is on the right side of the law these days. He wonders if Adam's looking for someone to blackmail into being his minion, and notes his life is so much better now that he's off the Newman's radar. Adam's happy for him. Kevin baits him by saying he's heard his life isn't going so well, and Adam tells him gloating's not a good look on him. Kevin accuses Adam of wallowing in his bad habits and alludes to Chloe sharing things with him now that she's working with Sally. Getting ready to walk out, Kevin declares that he's got a lot to do. He's sure Adam's heard that Ashland Locke died. Adam cries out for him to hold up. From what he heard, it was an open and shut case, and now it seems like there's more going on than meets the eye. Kevin informs him that there's been a death, of course. There will be a proper investigation. Adam questions the all-hands-on-deck approach for a cut-and-dry case. Kevin cites the public interest in the death as the reason to cover all the bases. "Have a lovely night," he sneers and walks out. At the Abbott house, Ashley texts Nikki and Phyllis that she's on her way to meet them. Jack asks, "Going out?" Ashley confirms she is. The doorbell rings and Ash muses, "Maybe I should stay here and keep tabs on you." She flings open the door to Diane and fumes. "What are you doing here? Again?" Diane holds up a bag and says she brought something by for Harrison. Ashley lets her pass and Jack declares that his sister was just leaving. Ash says she'll be back very soon and leaves. Diane tells Jack she brought some books about loss and grief for the boy. He finds this thoughtful and knows she's concerned about him. Diane knows that Jack is thinking she might try and swoop in and help Harrison, but it won't make up for what she did to Kyle. She put her son through the most unimaginable pain in his life and left Jack to pick up the pieces when she faked her death. So he probably doesn't think she's earned the right to be there for their grandson now. Jack would have thought that a few weeks ago, but he's impressed with how she's stepped up for Harrison. His family needs to be there for him. Diane gets emotional at the thought of being family again and vows not to let her grandson down as she did Kyle. She'll be there for both of them, always. Nick finds Victor in the office at Newman Enterprises and wonders why he's there so late. Victor reports that his mother has spoken to Victoria, who is holding up, and his mother will be making a statement. He wants to make sure they're all on the same page and asks if Nick has spoken to Sally What's-Her-Name. Nick replies, "Spectra. Yes, I just came from seeing her. Apparently, a source told her that Ashland was at Victoria's that night. For the time being, though, She has decided not to use that information in Newman Media's coverage. Victor muses that maybe she won't prove to be the liability she thought she would be. Nick will only opine that there's a lot more to Sally as an executive and as a person than his father thinks. Victor deadpans, I can hardly wait to find out. He decides it's time to go home. Nick still wants to talk about Ashland's death. He needs concrete answers. Ever since Ashland was found in his car, he can't shake the feeling that he doesn't know what took place last night. And I'm certain you do. Nick is asking his father one more time to be honest about what happened. Sally walks into society and spots Adam. Bracing herself, she strides over and plunks her purse on the bar beside him. He hopes she hasn't hunted him down, and she assures him her heart won't be bleeding all over the bar. They agree they don't want things to be weird between them, and Sally informs him she's decided he's right. They're better off apart. Why would she fight for a relationship only one of them wants? Adam's relieved she's accepted it's over. Sally lets him know she didn't resign from Newman Media. No man is worth losing that opportunity, not even you. After ordering her takeout, Sally strolls back over by Adam, who tells her she made the right call. She's the right person for the job. Sally confesses she had a little help making the decision. Adam guesses that Chloe persuaded her. Sally admits she played a part, but says that Nick also made a strong argument for her to stay. Now they'll have a productive and positive work dynamic. Adam wonders what led her to that conclusion. Sally waits for her martini to be poured, and then tells Adam that she and Nick just had a meeting on how Newman Media will handle Ashland Locke's death. She has a pretty good grip on how she'll deal with it. Adam grins, I bet you do. Nikki joins Phyllis at the hotel, and they agree no one's shedding any tears over Locke's death. This takes them back to the time they were happy that Diane was dead, which is right when Ashley walks in. She was delayed because the Viper appeared on her doorstep. She's using the whole situation with Ashland and Harrison to worm her way in. Nikki's not surprised, and Phyllis figures she's wearing her best grandma ever sash across her chest. Ashley fumes, I want her gone, yesterday. Phyllis assures her she and Nikki have a plan. They sit, and Ashley is put out that they devised a scheme without her, but is open to any and all suggestions. Nikki relays that they haven't been able to dig up any dirt on Diane from her time in Los Angeles, and Phyllis interjects that means they'll have to come up with some here. Ash asks what that means. Phyllis explains they'll create a situation where Diane falls, so spectacularly that Kyle will be done with her. And when he's done with her, everyone will follow suit. Nikki adds that she'll then have no choice but to leave town. Ashley finds this a great concept. Phyllis continues on to explain they'll center this around her job at Marchetti and orchestrate a situation that makes it look as though she's sabotaging the company for her own personal gain. They'll need to have someone on the inside, and that will be Phyllis, who says she's already set up the groundwork. Ashley shakes her head. It's a horrible idea. Ashley questions how Nikki and Phyllis could possibly think she'd sign off on an idea that could cause Marchetti to be jeopardized when it's under the Gembot umbrella. You two don't care. It's not your family's company that would suffer. Nikki and Phyllis insist that Summer, Kyle, and Marchetti will remain unscathed, as will Gembot. Ashley remains skeptical and asks if the name Gloria rings a bell. She tainted Gembot's face cream and said she meant no harm, but it was a huge catastrophe. Nikki fumes. Please tell me you're not comparing us to Gloria. Phyllis vows their plan will be more nuanced. We'll handle this deftly, I promise. Ashley rolls her eyes. Does Phyllis not think anyone will be suspicious when she suddenly wants a job at Marchetti? Nikki's surprised to hear the redhead has already approached her daughter about it. She accused her of having ulterior motives where Diane is concerned, but she handled it. Ashley wryly asks, Really, Phyllis? Are you sure? At the Abbott abode, Diane's feeling mixed emotions. I feel guilty being happy about the progress I've made when it's such a sad day for others. Jack doesn't think anyone will grieve Locke except Harrison. Diane finds that even more tragic and a terrible way to end a life. Jack wonders if she's thinking about the legacy she left behind all those years ago. Unlike Ashland, Diane has been given a second chance, and doesn't take 1 minute of it for granted. I hope you believe I mean that. Jack is impressed and touched by the books she brought by and feels she's gone above and beyond. Diane thanks him for shutting Phillies down at the park today. Jack doesn't see a need to get into it, but Diane sees every need. At Newman Enterprises, Nick presses Victor about what happened after they left Ashland alone without a pulse. How did he have the strength to leave the room? There was no trail of blood. Are they to assume he dressed his own wounds? That he was in the frame of mind to avoid detection? What about the ring on the floor that he found? Victor isn't surprised, he still has questions. He always had a deep sense of morality. All he'll say is that his son's conscience should be clear. Nick slams down his glass. That's not an answer. At Society, Adam and Sally discuss the high-profile death of Ashland. Adam feels it didn't have to come to this. It all should have ended when he took the payoff. Unfortunately, that wasn't enough for Victoria. Sally informs him it's hypocritical for him to criticize someone else for wanting revenge. She won't take pains to spare his feelings since he didn't bother to do that for her, and brings up him wanting to partner with Ashland shortly before he died. Adam argues that was when he thought he'd go after Newman Enterprises. Once he found out he was targeting Victoria, he wanted nothing else to do with him. The last time he saw the guy, he was a total mess. He creeped him out. In fact, he warned his father and Victoria about him. Sally's somewhat surprised by this. Adam had a bad feeling things were about to spiral, and didn't want to see anyone get hurt. He never could have predicted the great Loch Ness monster would meet his fate in a simple car crash. You don't know the half of it, Sally muses. Adam asks, "Oh." He urges her to tell him more. At Crimson Lights, Kevin finds Chance on the patio and declares he has another piece of the puzzle. At Newman Enterprises, Nick rants about Victor shutting him out. After promoting family unity, he constantly changes the rules. Victor's trying to help him. Nick argues if he wants to help him, then he should stop twisting reality. Victor fumes about him throwing around accusations. You want facts. Ashland Locke is as dead as a doornail. Victoria is at home with her children, she's safe. You're alive and well, and should be home with your son. Stop looking for a fight. Nick tells his father the fact that he's fighting him on this is proof that he's hiding something. How is he ever supposed to trust him when it's always this kind of manipulation? Every single time. Victor intones, "Son, Ashland Locke was found dead on your sister's living room floor. My men took care of things." At the Abbott manse, Diane assures Jack there's no reason to be tense about her bringing up Phillies. She won't condemn her for what she said to her, and she's used to her attitude. I probably even deserve it some of the time. She just wanted to say she appreciated for how he handled the situation. Jack was mostly looking out for Harrison. Diane knows, but if a tiny part of him was looking out for her, she appreciates it. It's been a long time since anyone has been on her side. Diane moves in close to grab her purse and husks, "Good night, Jack." At the hotel, Phyllis promises Ashley she'll handle the plan. They smirk back and forth as Ashley warns they can't afford for her to fail. Phyllis won't fail and vows only Diane will get hurt. "Trust me, I'm not going to let you down. Diane is a ticking time bomb waiting to go off. I'm just going to pull the pin out ever so slightly and wait for it to go off." They toast and Nikki adds, "Kaboom." At Society, Sally tells Adam she could share with him what she learned about Ashland's last night on Earth, but she'll pass, especially after he called her pathetic. Her loyalty has to be to Newman Media now, and she's not about to give him any information. At Newman Enterprises, Nick demands to know everything Victor did. His father details, "After you and Victoria went out of the house, my team went into that house, found Ashland Locke dead on the floor. They removed the body and put it in his car, drove to the ravine, and staged an accident. Simple." Nick considers this. Simple as that, huh? Victor tells his son he did nothing wrong. He intervened to save his sister and knocked Locke on his ass so hard he fell and hit his head on the floor and died because of it. It was an accident, not your intention to kill him. He bellows, "You think I give a damn that Ashland Locke is dead? No one cares about him. No one. He's a bastard, a fraud, who did such damage to our family, to your sister, and to you. Don't you feel bad about that? Victor continues. So the cops will investigate, right? They'll find the car in the ravine, look at it, find no evidence and move on. You should do the same thing. Move on. Forget this ever happened. Leaning forward and pointing his finger at Nick, Victor warns, and don't forget, my motive was to protect you from being investigated. At Crimson Lights, Kevin updates Chance that they got a tip that a car matching the description of Ashland's vehicle was parked last night at a gas station on a road that runs along the back of Victoria's property. Chance asks a bunch of questions, but Kevin has no more information. Chance will have to get the security footage from the area. There are a lot of questions about how Ashland's car got from there to the ravine. Maybe now they can get the answers they need.